what needs to change from an identity standpoint to address the explosion of agentic identity? Because I feel like, we've spent decades trying to solve for humans, but now the problem is that scale, right? For every one human, there are 10, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 agentic identities that are spawning, and they're spawning their own agents, right, to do things. So, what is it that you see over the next maybe like 3 to 5 years where it's like, okay, we really need to think about the way we are addressing identity and access management as a whole to counter that?
I think there are some positives, though. I sort of painted a big gloomy picture. I think there's some huge positives. I think the first one is actually use AI to fix some of those human problems I've been describing. So using AI in a much more focused and condensed way to say, actually, do you know what? Our identity and access management world is good, it's growing, it's incrementally improving, but we could use AI to actually fix a lot of the governance issues, fix a lot of the broken groups in Active Directory that don't have descriptions, fix all of the access requests, access review compliance issues we've had for decades and decades because nobody does that properly and it's ineffective. And use AI to sort of maybe fix and tighten up that human-centric stuff, make that match fit. I think by doing that, that actually frees us up as industry experts to say, actually, you know what? Conceptually, we can then start to apply some of this stuff to how we do strong authentication, just in time, runtime policy enforcement for agents. So I think the concepts are there. I think there's definitely a bit of issue around technically what that looks like, which I think in honesty is probably quite an easy thing to fix. But I think currently the big issue is that discovery, visibility, ownership thing. What's happening with AI in my organization? Where's it being used? Why is it being used? What's the value? And then look at doing the sort of security on that. And hopefully, you mentioned 3 or 5 years. I think maybe hopefully 5 years from now, it's a much more proactive thing. And it isn't just a case of sort of wrapping security on stuff afterwards. It's more about adding in those core concepts every time you build an agent or deploy an agent, and it has strong auth, process attestation, trusted work environment. It doesn't have access permissions, or you can identify when it does. So I think the concepts we all know. I think the concepts exist. I think it's just applying them in a slightly different sort of environment, I think.